Welcome to New Song Cafe at worshiptogether.com. Joining us from England is songwriter, worship leader Stuart Townend. Although Stuart started playing piano at age 7, he didn't write his first song until he was 22. Digging deep into the scriptures, Stuart wrote today's song, How Deep the Father's Love. I'm Rick Kua. Thanks for joining us for New Song Cafe at worshiptogether.com.
How great the pain of searing loss. The Father turns his face away.
Stuart, welcome. Thanks for being with us. You know, you write such beautiful hymns. How Deep the Father's Love is a beautiful example of a wonderful melody married to a deep lyric. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I wrote this a few years ago and really wanted to set out to write a hymn. I was feeling there were lots of songs around, but there wasn't a lot of content in the songs, and I really wanted to write something that was more hymn-like. I was finding in my own worship leading I was more and more going back to the hymns to introduce content, and I was thinking, why is it that we don't have songs that are full of poetic, powerful language these days? So I kind of set out to do that.
Did this song start out with a melody or with a specific lyric?
I think I remember sitting down and just having that feeling, I want to write a hymn, I'm going to write a hymn. And I found the melody came very quickly. It's one of those things where you feel the melody came so easily, you're thinking, I've borrowed this from something, from somewhere else. So I probably spent the first 2 years of this song's life in panic that someone was going to come up and say, you stole my melody, or did you realise it's exactly the same as this? And then the lyrics just began to kind of just spill out when you're contemplating the cross and the power of the cross.
Yes.
Then it came very simply.
Would you teach it to us?
Sure. There's no chorus in the song, so it's just 3 verses straight. And the verse goes like this. How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that He should give His only Son to make a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of searing loss. The Father turns His face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. So basically I'm playing it in E, but I'm using a capo, so the chords are D. It's a slightly unusual timing because technically speaking it's a 6/4 bar and then a 4/4 bar, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So that's just slightly difficult to, or you need to understand that musically, or a drummer needs to understand that if he's going to play anything to it. I'm using very simple chords. I'm finger picking, obviously. Sometimes inverting bass notes to make them just slightly more interesting. So it's like a D over F sharp. That's beyond all measure. That's a sus, an A7 sus4, which then resolves to an A7. And then He'll give His. There's a kind of a run up here. So He should give His only Son. So you've got that. Run up on the bass. To make a wretch His treasure. And D over F sharp. How great the pain of searing loss. So that's a G with a B bass, D with an A bass, and then a G. Some of these they feel slightly complicated for the guitar, but it worked very well, particularly on keyboards. So keyboard players would find this much easier because there's a kind of a voicing thing going on with the bass note moving with the top note. But you can do it on guitar, or you can just play it more straightforwardly on the guitar. I find the song, in terms of its simplicity, very accessible to people. Particularly the second verse that really focuses on Jesus on the cross and realizing that He's carrying our sin on His shoulders. And I think sometimes it is important for us to consider, not in any kind of morbid way, because of course Jesus is risen and we celebrate his victory and his resurrection. But I think it's important for the Christian to understand what it cost Jesus. Because then I think we do take sin seriously and we realise the consequences of sin, having understood what it cost him, I think is a vital part of our Christian lives.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thanks for being with us, Stuart.
Great.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rick.
What should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know